Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our next live stream. I'll be your producer for this session. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters to answer live. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand right here on the Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our speakers for today. Thank you for joining.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alvaro Videla, and I'm a principal cloud advocate at Microsoft, and I'm happy to be here today to talk about this little project that has grown pretty big legs and the Ontology Playground, and also about the competition we just launched, which I think is a reason why you are here. Yeah, and also in the chat we have Christopher and Paul. They are from our team, so say hi, and they can also help answer questions you may have about anything related to Fabric, Microsoft, or Ontologies, IQ, etc. So our goal is to understand and talk a bit about the new the Ontology Innovation Challenge that we launched. And the goal is that you can build ontologies for a chance to win Fabric swag. So the contest is already been running since around 2 weeks, and you have 10 more days to submit your ontologies. And by the end of May, we are going to be announcing the winners or winner. And you can submit up to 3 entries. And of course, today you have the the pleasure of having me as your host for this stream. So, yeah, the goal of the challenge is that you use the Ontology Playground. You can access the link. I don't know if we can share the link in chat. But yeah, you can go here and you can use this interface I will show you later to design ontologies. And yeah, the idea is that, so you may wonder, okay, what is an ontology? Actually, earlier today, we were having this discussion in our team, chat at Microsoft. And yeah, so what you want to capture in an ontology is how your system works. What are the concepts that like literally make up your system beyond, let's say, what you store, whether it's in a database, whether it's in a file system, it doesn't matter because it's about the concepts. So yeah, I was explaining also to a colleague earlier today that if you look, let's say, at I can give you some idea about this later, but if you're looking only at the project on GitHub and you think about the file system as a database, you can also build an ontology of your coding project and use that to better work with, let's say, LLM agents and coding agents. So ontologies, of course, they aren't exclusive to Fabric IQ, but we are going to be talking about them in the context of Fabric IQ. But I want you to understand that they apply to basically everything that you are building with technology. You can build an ontology for that and describe the various concepts. So in the case of the Ontology Playground, of course, we have the designer interface. Oh, sorry, the playground interface, that's a concept. Then we have Quest, that's another concept. The Quest have steps. Then we have, I don't know, the inspector. We have the natural language query example here, search filter. You can see a summary of the ontology. So every ontology has a summary, right? So that's how you can start thinking and talking about how to describe your system, right? And in the context of the community challenge, yeah, try to find what is the map of concepts that are representative of what you want to show. It could be about your company, it could be about something which is day to day, like in the playground. I will show you later in more detail, but just quickly, somebody, because you can submit your own ontologies and they can be featured here if they make sense, of course. Somebody built a baby routine tracking ontology. So baby care, routine tracking, etc. And you can see all the concepts, how they map, right? Sleep, I'm not sure if this is a true one for babies, but you have feeding definitely, but sleeping, I don't know. But yeah, you see, you can have all kind of, of ontologies, really. Um, so back to the challenge. So yeah, try to map concept, relationships, and find a common language. And yeah, you are not building database, you're not building a report dashboard. You really are creating this conceptual model. So what you are trying to do, maybe I can make the font bigger here. What you're trying to do is go to the ontology playground, this link here, and yeah, start designing your ontology, key entities, relationship properties, and some examples could be something about your current or past job. It could be about your university thesis. I don't know, whatever you want. And as I show you, something personal or everyday system. Again, seriously. We don't want any funny business in the contest. And yeah, if you what we will try to judge on is the clarity of concepts. Are the entities clearly defined and meaningful? Are you defining useful relationships? Do this relationship explain how the system works? Is there real world grounding? How is the communication, and so on? Like main um, metric, let's say, that you should be looking at is sense making. Is not about complexity. For sure, you can stress the ontology playground and try um, to showcase like a complex ontology, but that's not the requirement. Okay, the requirement again is sense making. And then you can share the link to the playground, because you can share the ontologies. Once you build them, you can share this, and it can be uh, shared to somebody else, right? You can copy it from here, and it will be loaded by the other person. That's a goal we have when we created the playground, that you could share this concept easily. Not that they like there is no point on having ontologies like this if you literally cannot augment the understanding other people have about the system. Basically, that again always is about think of ontologies, let's say, as probably the closer in technology to soft skills, which I don't like the word soft skills, because it puts like the hard ones are the cool ones and the soft, I don't know. I think in the new LLM era, like in the new agentic AI era, soft skills is what will make or break your success. So understanding ontologies and being able to apply them is what will differentiate your solution from another one that is just throwing data at an LLM. Because if you cannot explain your architecture, your system to another human being, let's say, I'm pretty sure it will be even harder to explain to an LLM, because you need to keep in mind and to get a bit more into the ontologies, how they are useful, and also always try to think that what I'm trying to tell you is how you should map to ontology design, right? But an LLM, of course, it knows the concept shopping cart or review or product, but does it know how it applied to your business? That's what the ontology tries to solve. It's not about the concepts on their own, because you probably have heard a lot about the word hallucination in the context of LLMs, because in a way, and I don't want to get scolded for what I'm going to say, but in a way, let's say, again, this take it with a lot of quotes, you can assume that mostly everything that comes out of the LLM is hallucinated. It's not like that, because of course the LLMs are grounded, and there are teams that make sure they stay within some definition of reality, let's say. But you need to make the LLM, by prompting it, be sure that it's actually mapping and talking about your data, or talking about your code, or whatever that is that you are using the LLM for. So when you start applying ontologies, you are making sure the LLM is grounding all these ideas, like here, product, shopping cart, whatever, in your business definition, right? So that is, in a way, why you define ontologies. So let me quickly try to go here. Yeah. So to finish the challenge rules or description, right? Use the playground, get a screenshot, and then some paragraphs. And what you do is that you will go to the gallery here, and you will submit your ontology to the gallery. And you can see some people are even having fun posting this Star Wars ontology, which was pretty relevant yesterday, which you can see quickly how this can help you map a lot of things. Yeah, like is it a force sensitive being, right, and so on. It's pretty cool, and you can of course use the RDF and so on. And this is how it looks in the playground. But point is, you can have fun. Maybe you can do, I don't know, a Lord of the Rings ontology or whatever, and submit it. Again, have fun, but try to at the end of the day, I think the important thing is that we learn how to use ontologies, and hopefully one of you will be the winner. Another thing that I want to show you, it's not required, but it will be cool if you want to do it. The playground, as you can see, or as you know already, if you have been using it, has the gallery, right? So in the gallery, we have the official ontologies, which are the ones that we ship with the playground. But you can also, external. These are ontology, like sample ontologies from either the FIBO EDM Council or the schema.org example. So that's why I counted them as external. I wanted to see if the playground will support importing those ontologies. That's why they are here. But at the end of the day, what I want to tell you is that feel free to also go to GitHub and submit the ontologies that you created for the playground as a pull request. So you can come I'm not going to create a new fork of my project, but you can come here for the project. Don't forget to also to give a star to the project, and submit your contribution. They are quite simple to do. If you are in the designer view here, where you can design your ontologies, you also have the instructions here, how you do the whole pull request, right? And if the ontology makes sense, we are happy to have it included in the catalog and be featured in our official Microsoft website. So that's also pretty cool. And if you have customers and so on, and I don't know, maybe you're a consultant and you want to visit a customer and you want to talk to them about ontologies, and the ones we ship here as official, they don't map your customer's business, like, I don't know, banking and finance, healthcare, whatever. You can go to them with your own ontology, and even having the creds of having the ontology accepted into the playground, right? So I think there are a lot of options for how the playground can be used in that sense. So I don't know, before I move on, if you have questions in chat about anything from the contest, from what I was just talking to you, or the gallery, etc. Otherwise, I explain you a bit the vision and how the playground came to be. So I'm not seeing any questions. Okay, so let's go with the playground itself. So let me quickly refresh here. So what's the idea of the playground? Or why did I created this, and how this can help you in your day-to-day business, let's say. So the example I always use, it probably sounds a bit foreign to a lot of people, but I think you will get it at the end. Okay, there is a question in chat, sorry. What's the deadline for submitting the ontology? So the deadline is May 15. I don't know on the exact time zone, but don't risk it. Do it on May 14 if you want, or early day May 15. But that's our deadline. Back to the playground. So the example I put on why I created this playground, it's like there is an Argentine writer, Jorge Luis Borges. He's quite popular, and back in the early 1900s, he wanted to write stories like detective stories in Argentina, but there was no market for detective stories. So what he did, he he grabbed the stories from Edgar Allan Poe. You probably know him from The Crow or all these stories, and he started translating them into Spanish to create a market. And once he created that market, that interest in detective stories, then he started writing his own stories, right? So last year, when we announced Fabric IQ, for me, it became clear that we cannot go around and talking about ontologies in the Balmer sense, and not have anything to show, right? Or people maybe hearing this concept and be a bit foreign and distant, and at the same time we will be talking, oh look, ontologies can let you do all of this, all of that, blah blah blah, and there was nothing to show. Like, okay, if you sign into Fabric, you get your account, you get your trial, blah blah blah, then in 27 steps, I don't know how many, you start playing with ontologies. That for me is not acceptable. I think I would like that our users, they can quickly get up to speed with this concept, and if they choose to keep going, then they can push that to Fabric, right? So that was one of the main reasons why I worked on creating the playground, was to remove the friction, remove all the barriers to getting into the concepts of ontologies. The other goal I had was to make it fun to learn. That's why we have the quest. for me, I think we are in an era of attention when if something is beyond an Instagram post or a TikTok or a tweet, it's already too much for me, right? So okay, let's try at least to be engaged, right? So that's why we have this quest on the left pane to help you go through it. And when you create an ontology, the cool thing about how the playground is integrated is that this quest, they automatically understand your ontology. So let me see. Hopefully this works. But I don't know. If I go to incident, you see, discover the core entities in the incident management and so on. So what I'm trying to tell you is that submitting your ontology to the playground, if you want to do a pull request, right, and you want to have it here, is way easier than it sounds. Maybe when you see the whole interface is, oh, I need to take care of some. No, you don't need to take care of many details. The goal is that this is as simple as possible. And another thing that I try to do is that because of course I developed this using coding agents like in GitHub Copilot, right? The repo is structured in a way that we have, I don't know if it's here. Yeah, you have skills. You see how to do catalog, how to generate a path. I will explain what it is later. But I try to have all kind of skills. So if you are using coding agents, you come here, grab the agents, and I mean, ask the agent to use the skills, and that should get you going. So yeah, that is what I'm been trying to do with this repo. Is not only a playground in itself; it's also how I think we should do agentic development, because with your team you should be sharing skills, not like direct instructions on how do you do something, but how they can use agents to do something. So in the case of contributing to the repo, that's the philosophy behind it. So that's another thing also to take from this. Okay. Let me go back to the Cosmic Coffee one. So back to the quest. I'm not going to go through all of them, but basically the idea is that you start understanding what are entities, what are the relationships. So for instance, this quest is called Meet the Entities. Click on the customer entity to learn about its properties. So customer is here, right? And you can even see the icon, right? So that's customer. It appears here. And you can see there is a customer ID, which is a key property, right? Then you have name, email, and so on, or all the things that describe what is a customer, what the relationship there are, data bindings. Again, keep in mind that this is a simulation. This is not connected to Fabric at the moment. So this is kind of showing you what this will look like once you do everything into Fabric. So if you do queries here, you are querying the simulation data of the playground. You're not querying your data. That keep that distinction clear at all times. Okay. So yeah, that's the first step for the quest. The next step is click on the order to learn about its properties. Similar idea. Now we have the order with order ID, timestamp, total in US dollars, etc. So you understand. Okay, when imagine you are browsing this ontology in your own company. We have customers. What do customers include? They include, of course, a customer ID, a name, an email, loyalty tier, join date, total spend. That's for this company what is a customer. If you go to orders, this is what is an order. So this doesn't mean that the database has this exact fields on the database or columns. It doesn't mean that we have only one table. We can have maybe a join. There is a view representing that. I don't know, right? That is not what the ontology cares about. The ontology at this level is describing the system. Then when you do the data bindings, and an AI agent needs to and you say an AI, you ask an AI agent, tell me how much money has this customer such and such spent. The agent will go to the ontology, will find the customer, it will find that there is a total spend field, which is probably what you mean by spend, and it will go to Fabric, it will look at the mapping with the tables and say, okay, to find this information, I need to query the SQL database or the event house, or I don't know, or some CSV file. Again, it doesn't really matter where the storage is. The ontology is the layer on top that gives this semantic meaning for the LLM agent, okay? So let's keep going. The third one is click on the product entity to learn about its properties. So this one. And again, we know product ID, name, category, price, origin, and we know if it's organic or not. Hopefully coffee is organic. I don't know. Does it support role-playing entities, customer counter? I assume yes, but I don't honestly understand the question as is. What do you mean by that? But my intuition is yes, but I don't know. And finally, the last one is the store. And when I select the store, I finish the quest, right? And I get some point and some badge. Keep in mind, this is just for fun. We are not exchanging badges or pot for anything, okay? So this is just to be interested into doing the challenge. Then relationship navigator, you will start at the customer, then you will find the places order, because that's another thing from ontology. You can speak with verbs that they map to actions, and then they connect the entities together, because the customer places an order. They are linked, and because the order contains a product, they are also linked. So the product is the order is processed at the store, right? But we never touch the supplier, because a customer, an order, or even the process contained, etc., they don't need to know that there is a supplier, or maybe the company makes their own coffee, right? So all these things is what you are trying to map here. And then finally, again, this is a demo. This is not how you will build an agent in Fabric. I can show you that later, maybe if we have time. But an idea is that you will be asking natural language questions to the ontologies, and they will answer those questions. That's the goal of having all of these, if you map it to your data. Okay. So this is a bit about the playground itself, how quests work, how you have the entity types, and so on. By the way, I don't know if I have it here, maybe. This is preview. This is on my development machine. But we are developing, somebody sent a pull request. I don't know if you are in the call, but it's really cool. Ravi sent a pull request that is improving the interface, and it will be really good for the challenge, because once you have your ontology, by clicking here, you will have a file that that you can submit directly to the contest. So instead of you having to take the screenshot, or maybe if you want to embed that into email and so on, this will already give you that for free. So that, I think, is already also pretty cool. But back to the production version of this. Yeah, this is a bit of the playground. Then, I don't know, you have this button here. The idea is that sometimes you will see that the ontology looks, I don't know, like that, or something a bit weird. This just redraws the graph so it looks better for you. You have zoom, you have all that, right? Okay, then summary. This, of course, is like an overview in more like text shape, let's say, document shape of the ontology, relationship, etc. You can look at that here. What else? The catalog, I already mentioned it to you, but yeah, you can see all the different ontologies, and you can group them, and hopefully after the call, I can get a lot of pull requests where you submit your ontologies here as well. Then we have the designer. Here's where you can create or work on your ontology, where you can add an entity type, a new entity, sorry. So this is your new entity. You can give it a name, I don't know, customer card, customer loyalty card. You can choose an icon, I don't know, this one looks like a card. There is a property like ID, and then maybe, I don't know, points is an integer. And then the relationship is that it will be a customer card relates to a customer. So there you have your new entity, let's say. And then if we go back to the playground, I think I have to click load into the playground. Sorry for that. So we're here. I also want to fix this because I would like that the drawing is always the same and looks similar to what we have on the playground. So that's something I want to have. So customer card, customer loyalty card. We have a card, and the relationship is to customer. So here we have it, and I think this is the button. Yes, that was the button. Load into playground. So once you have that, you screenshot that, you share it on the gallery, right? So that's plus minus how you will be working to create your own ontologies. And let me go to the designer again. You don't have to use the designer if your company or on your business or whatever, you have already ontologies, and they have the RDF format. You can click edit. You can paste your RDF. You load it into the designer. So then you will have it here, and you can go back to the playground. So you can also again grab an RDF, which is some sort of XML, and put it back into here. You can download the RDF. I will explain you why will you want to do that soon. And of course, submit to the catalog. So when you export the RDF and get the file like this one, maybe you want to integrate it into a system that already knows how to process RDF, or you want to send it to Fabric. There is a way to do that, like parsing an RDF with a notebook, and then you put it directly into Fabric. What else? Let's go back here. This one, the ontology school. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, before we go to the school, I want to show you something else that the ontology supports. If you go to embed/samples HTML, you can have this document that explains ontologies, how they are, how they work, and see them in a sort of document. And what's this? Here, you can see that this is actually the playground, but it's in a player mode. It's not in the playground mode. Similar to, let's say, how YouTube lets you embed videos, right? You have the YouTube page and then you have the player, right? So the idea here was that because ontologies are documentation and you should be able to easily share them around, the player can help you do that, right? So you can have multiple of them in one page. Imagine this is your company and you want to document your system. You create a lot of ontologies. You bring them to the player and you embed them in your own documentation. It doesn't have to be on the Microsoft documentation, right? So how do you do that? Of course, you can also use themes. You use this code. The playground already comes with a ontology embed JavaScript that it allows you to embed ontologies in your own documentation on your own website. How will you do that if the ontology is not part of the official catalog? Because you can do this also with this, right? With the catalog. But maybe you want to have it privately for your company. You don't want this to be exposed, or people that don't need to have access see these ontologies and so on. Of course, you can do that. You grab the playground, you fork the playground. Of course, if I refresh this number and I still see 473, I will be disappointed, okay? Don't make me cry live on stream. I will hit refresh and then let me see here. Okay, I'm gonna be crying on screen because not one person went and say and start the project. Okay, but anyway, you can fork the playground and install it locally, and it's just a Node.js app, and it's I made it. I went to the full length, let's say, to have it a static, to have it be a static web app. I don't want that you need any sort of server for this to run, maybe like a local Node.js or something like that, but that's pretty much it. Actually, the playground itself is running as a GitHub page, so it's literally static HTML. So you can clone it, you can fork it, and then you can deploy it in your intranet. You can deploy it on Azure on your own subscription. You can run it on your own laptop. If you are a consultant and you want to present your design to a customer, you get the playground. You design your ontologies. You will see they go into catalog, community. Then you have the ontologies. They have like a author. So if you submit your ontology, of course, we will use your GitHub username there, so you will be credited. And yeah, by doing just that, you can go to your customer and showcase ontologies, and they will be private. So that is also pretty cool. And we had a colleague that he even went as far as modifying the logo here and putting the customer logo, because again, you can personalize this for your own customers if you really want to do that. Then another question we had a lot is that how do I get this to Fabric? I will go to the ontology school soon, but since we are talking about personal or your own ontologies, let's say, let me show you this. So what you can do here is you have the ontology import export dialog. You can get the RDF, as I mentioned, get the RDF and then use that XML to parse it and push an ontology to Fabric or whatever. I have a cookbook here. This. It knows how to parse the RDF and create the ontologies. But at the moment, we are using a private file that this is not public. soon it will be published, but I don't know if soon means 1 day, 1 week, or 7 months. That I cannot give you the information, but yeah, definitely there is a way to do RDF to Fabric directly. It's not required, but it's what I'm using in this notebook. But you could also use the Fabric API to post REST request and create the ontologies from the entities and so on. It's a very similar process. So yeah, then this colleague, the one I was telling you that changed the logo, we have push to Fabric, which you will give like a workspace ID, an access token. You can connect it to the workspace and then push to Fabric. But he went ahead and did much more and created like a workspace speaker, multi-step wizard. It knows how to do push data to the lakehouse, do a lot of things. I've been the whole week merging pull requests. So I'm going step by step. That one is the next one I was going to review, actually. I didn't want to deploy it before this talk because I don't want anything not working here, but expect to have a better interface for pushing your stuff to Fabric directly, and also this type of helpers to get the screenshot of the ontology, also like these insights, entities, relationship, and properties, and this pathfinder that will tell you, like, I don't know, from what's the path from customer to store, and it will show you the path. So all these new features, they are contributed by the community, and they will be landing soon. But anyway, you have your ontology, you want them on Fabric. That's the export button here to get the RDF or to push it to Fabric. Then the last feature I wanted to showcase is the ontology school. So what's the idea with the ontology school? The idea is that ontologies are documentation for me, or how I see them, beyond what you can do then from an LLM perspective. So because of that, what I want is that you can learn like ontology fundamentals, right? What is an ontology? See all that, see the ontology drawn there, get questions like which of the following is not a building block of an ontology, blah, 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 blah. You have, I don't know, SQL query, relationship, and so on. What is the purpose of an identified property, etc. Right? Like you can have all these type of lessons. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a skill for that, ontology school path generator. So if you bring the project into GitHub Copilot, it will know how to give you or generate a school for your ontology in your own company again. And what is even better, if you talk to customers, is that you can select present, and the school becomes like a sort of PowerPoint. So you have it, like slides. It's just based on this markdown text, and you can follow the presentation with your customer. And yeah, there you have even interaction for people. Like, I don't know, maybe they say property. No, the correct one is SQL query, not property. Ontologies are built from blah blah blah. So you can have all this sort of interactive way of bringing ontologies to your customers. And yeah, that's the whole concept behind the school. But let me go back to the catalog. You see, we have the e-commerce, we have banking, we have a lot of them, right? And you can, you can present based on the industry that your customer is in. And let me find you an example of a nice feature that we have here. here we have 3 entities. Let me see if this is the right one. And I'm sorry for this. Yeah, okay. So you see, now we have 4 entities. So what you have in the school that is not part of the playground, you can have partial ontologies. So you can see, because you are learning and you maybe don't know, maybe you're lost, maybe your customer also is trying to follow and doesn't know what's going on. You can have and show them, because you are designing with them, you can have before and then after. So they see, oh, okay, there is a new entity here that connects like buyer to product through new relationship, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm trying to say is that the playground is way more than just a playground. It's much more than just I can see ontologies and play some quests, right? No, you have a catalog with multiple industries being supported. Of course, you have the community ones that hopefully one of you will submit, and then you have the schools. The schools is if you want to present to somebody, I think that's the best way to then do the whole end-to-end presentation and explain what you're trying to build with them. Again, your goal is to create a better system. It's not to create ontologies. Ontologies are what will get you there, and even more today in this world of LLMs. The LLMs need to understand the semantic layer of your data, and ontologies are what will give the LLM this information. Speaking of which, I always like to recommend this book. I don't know if you can see the title, and somebody maybe can share it in chat, but it's called Data and Reality. This book is from the 70s. It's all about designing data, and it tries to solve or explain the problem that is being the author, if you want to share it there, is William Kent. I don't know if it's visible there. William Kent. So what is it that we are trying to solve? That like maybe I should have talked about this a bit earlier, right? But the example they put there is if you have a hardware store, right? If you have a hardware store, you are selling, I don't know, screws, right? Let's say. So when you define your ontologies, the screw will be just a generic piece, right? That your company is selling, or your store. But the moment somebody brings us a screw as a return because it failed, you need to track that particular screw. So this author is asking, what is one thing or the same thing, right? That is the question the ontology is trying to answer for the LLM or for somebody that's trying to get into the system. Because when you need to track a return piece, you need to track that one with that serial number, with like literally the one that the person said it was defective. When you are just selling screws, let's say, or washers, whatever, Rodrigo is asking, is this model based on RDF? Can it be integrated into existing APIs? So yeah, the playground uses RDF. As I understand, Fabric will support RDF. I'm not sure if it's right now supporting RDF out of the box. I don't think so. But regardless, you can do a notebook that does the RDF parsing and exporting, because it's like a standard RDF. But the playground supports RDF, and you can bring RDF directly, either through import. You can drop an RDF here, or in the designer, you can go to RDF and paste your ontology RDF here. So it comes out of the box. So back to the example from the book. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the ontology, when you have that, return pieces are not the same as the pieces that you sell, and because of that, you will track them and treat them differently. And another example we like to give at Microsoft is the idea of an airline. if you go to the Ignite website, Microsoft Ignite, the conference from last November, when we introduced some of the concepts from ontologies in Fabric IQ, they use the example of an airline. So when you have an airline, and I don't remember the exact wording they have, but they use the word like an active plane. Okay, so what is an active plane? If you are somebody working at the repair shop at the hangar, then the active plane is some plane that you fixed and it's out of your hangar. Like it's not, let's say, your problem anymore, right? You fix it, it's out there. That's in your books. You will go active, right? But for the CFO, the finance manager, an active plane is a plane that is bringing in money, right? Like it's actually flying with passengers. So an ontology, in this case, we will have one ontology from the mechanics shop, one ontology for the CFOs, let's say, and what they will help the LLM is to distinguish and disambiguate when we have the question, hey, how many active planes are there? It will know, okay, are you talking about out of the garage, or flying with passengers, right? And then it will be able to route to the right table. We are nearly on the hour, so I will show you a bit of this, how I implemented something like this on Fabric IQ using ontologies. If I go here, you can see I have a lot of ontology tables on my lakehouse, and then I have data that it was CSV data. Okay, this is not loading there, but anyway. And what I do is I go through the data, I load it into the lakehouse, and then I start creating the ontologies, the properties, how they work, and then I do the mappings. So once I have all of this, I can show you a baseline agent. So this is a data agent, but because it has access to the tables, but it doesn't have access to the ontologies. If I have this example, the FIBO example is about loans and risk. The question is, what is our total loan exposure to climate-sensitive industries in hurricane-prone regions, right? So the agent is not able to answer the question, even though it has access to the table, because I don't know if you can see here, but there are like SIC code, whatever that is, NAICS code. Like from this question to go to these codes, it's not so easy, right? But then when I have the ontology agent, this one can answer the question. Here is your total loan exposure to climate-sensitive industries in hurricane-prone region, domain context. The climate-sensitive industry identified by NAICS code, such and such, and explains the whole thing, and what is the loan balance there, how many loans match this criteria, etc. So how does it work, or how does it's able to do that? Because first I set up the ontology so it has access to them, and then on the agent instructions, this one also has agent instructions and knows how to do queries and whatnot, but it doesn't know how to access ontologies because it doesn't have access to them, right? So if I keep going, it tells the relation between ontologies. I explain how to reason about them, how to use JQL to traverse this graph and blah, blah, and so on, right? And thanks to these instructions, then we use the ontologies, the table, we put them together, and you get the working agent. Yeah, so it's something, I think it's something really interesting, and it's something that will change the way we work with LLMs. In my case, because I'm more interested in coding, let's say, and improving how LLM agents work in code. We are working. This is a private project from Microsoft, but I can tell you a bit about it, so you can maybe think about these ideas. You can also build ontologies from code. And when you build an ontology from code and an LLM like GitHub Copilot, and I don't know whether you're using Opus or Codex or whatever, and then you ask question about your code and you ask the LLM to either explain code or to write new code or find where the feature should be implemented. If you have an ontology from your code that could be at first a graph, but then more semantic layers around your code, then these agents, instead of being grepping around your repo and doing all kind of things that are a bit wasteful, because they have access to the ontology as a MCP server, as a tool, they can more easily work with your data. So my point is that ontologies, they aren't reserved, let's say, only for Fabric or for data or for businesses. They actually apply to a lot of things, including code. But in our case today, just think about it. They are more, or we are looking at like business type of ontologies, but feel free to submit one that describes a GitHub project or whatever you think could be useful. So to end up here, I don't know if you have any questions, post them in chat. We have the contest, we have the Ontology Innovation Challenge. Until May 15, you can submit your ontologies. They will winners will be announced on the 24th. You can send up to 3 entries, and yeah, once you have your ontology, hopefully tomorrow I will have already this feature here to export the PNG merged. But regardless, you can just take a screenshot and then submit your ontology here. Let me see if somebody did it while we were having. Yes, we got a supply chain ontology. Let's see what's there, hopefully. Yeah, here is the one. Let me see. Wow, that is a complex ontology. So yeah, that's something that somebody did while we were working on this, and I will take a look later about how it was made. But yeah, hopefully we see a lot of entries from you. And yeah, if you don't have any questions, we leave it here. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. And yeah, thank you for attending.
Thank you all for joining, and thanks again to our speakers. We're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find our survey link on the screen or in the chat. And we'll see you at the next one.